There's a material NASA is seriously testing for building houses on Mars, and every single ingredient is sitting in your kitchen right now. Not a lab chemical, not something you order from a specialty supplier. Sand, potato starch, and a specific kind of salt. Mixed, pressed, and left to dry. No kiln, no fire, no cement truck. And when researchers tested it, it came out more than twice as strong as ordinary concrete. Here's the problem most people run into when they want to build something sturdy on a budget. A raised garden bed wall, a fire-safe surround for a forge or rocket stove, a small outdoor structure. The default answer is always the same. Buy fired brick, buy concrete block, or buy a manufactured refractory panel. All three cost real money, all three need to be transported, and all three assume you have access to a supply chain that, if you're improvising in a remote area or just trying to keep costs down, you might not have. Concrete needs cement, which needs a kiln running at extreme heat somewhere far away long before it ever reaches your hardware store. Fired brick needs the same thing. You're paying not just for material, but for the entire industrial chain that produced it. What most people don't know is that there's a much older, much simpler chemistry sitting one aisle over from the cement bags, quite literally in the baking section. And it's not folklore. It's now been measured in a university lab and it beats concrete on paper. The story starts with a team at the University of Manchester, led by researcher Aled Roberts. The earlier project had used astronaut blood and urine as a binder for extraterrestrial building material. It worked, reaching about 40 megapascals of compressive strength, but depending on a steady supply of human blood is, understandably, not a scalable construction plan. So the team pivoted. Since future astronauts will already be growing potatoes for food, they tested ordinary potato starch as a binder instead, mixed with simulated Martian and lunar soil. The results were dramatic: 72 megapascals for the Mars version, and over 91 megapascals for the Moon version, compared to about 32 megapascals for standard Portland cement concrete. They named the material Starcrete, and in a detail that sounds almost too practical to be true. The team calculated that a single 25-kilogram sack of dehydrated potato, the kind used for crisps, contains enough starch to produce roughly 213 bricks worth of material. So why does this actually work? Sand and soil are mostly silicon dioxide, hard, chemically inert grains that don't bond to each other on their own. Fired brick solves that by melting the surface of clay particles together at extreme heat, somewhere around 900 to 1200 degrees Celsius, fusing them into a glassy matrix. It works, but it's energy hungry and entirely dependent on that heat source. Starch takes a completely different path to a similar result. When you heat potato starch in water, the granules swell and burst open, releasing long chains of carbohydrate polymer into a thick gel. This is gelatinization, the same reaction that thickens a sauce. When that gel is worked into sand and left to cure, those polymer chains don't just coat the surface. They thread through every gap between grains. And as the mixture dries, the chains lock together into a dense internal net that binds the whole mass into a solid block. No melting required. The binding happens at room temperature. Here's where the Manchester team found something extra. Adding a specific salt, magnesium chloride, not ordinary table salt, significantly boosted the final strength. It's worth being precise about this because it's the one detail people tend to blur. The researchers' magnesium chloride can come from sources like de-icing salt or nigari, used in tofu making, and it behaves differently in solution than plain sodium chloride does. If you're experimenting at home with regular table salt instead, understand you're making a reasonable, low-cost substitution, not literally reproducing the tested formula. Why isn't this the default way we build things already, given it's cheaper and greener? Mostly ordinary economics, not a hidden plot. Building codes, supplier relationships, and hardware store shelves are all built around fired brick and cement, because that's the infrastructure that already exists. Kilns, freight networks, standardized product specs. Sand, starch, and salt are abundant and unpatentable, so there's no company positioned to market or scale starch brick the way cement companies scale concrete. It's less that anyone's hiding this, and more that nobody with capital has an incentive to replace a system they already profit from. That gap is exactly why NASA-adjacent researchers went looking for alternatives in the first place. Space missions can't afford to ship cement or fuel a kiln to Mars, so they had to solve for something buildable from what's already there. And notably, the Manchester team has since launched a startup exploring whether this same chemistry could work as a greener alternative to conventional concrete here on Earth, since cement production accounts for a meaningful share of global CO2 emissions. If you want to try a basic version yourself for something like a fire-safe surround, a rocket stove insert, or a small non-load-bearing garden structure, here's roughly how it goes. Get plain potato starch, not cornstarch. Potato starch has a higher molecular weight and gelatinizes more strongly, which is why the researchers chose it specifically. Mix a few tablespoons into cold water first, then heat it gently, stirring the whole time until it thickens into a translucent gel. Pull it off the heat before it boils. Stir in a small amount of your chosen salt, whether that's magnesium chloride if you can source it, or plain table salt as an untested but reasonable substitute. Combine that gel thoroughly into clean, dry sand until you get a stiff, moldable dough. Not runny, not crumbly. Pack it firmly into a mold, working in layers to push out air pockets, then let it cure in a dry spot out of the rain. Give it at least 48 to 72 hours before handling it as load-bearing, since the internal polymer network needs that time to fully cross-link even after the surface feels solid. Now for the honest limitations, because this is where the excitement needs a reality check. This material is not waterproof. The starch matrix is moisture sensitive, and standing water over time will weaken the bond, so anything permanently exposed to rain needs a sealant like boiled linseed oil on the surface. The starch binder also begins to break down under sustained heat above roughly 300 degrees Celsius at the bonding zones. So while the silica component tolerates real flame, this isn't a substitute for a commercial kiln lining refractory brick meant for sustained industrial furnace heat. And critically, home-brewed versions using ordinary sand instead of tested regolith haven't been independently verified to hit the same 72 or 91 megapascal numbers from the lab. Treat this as a genuinely promising, low-cost experiment for small, non-critical, non-load-bearing projects. Not a verified replacement for engineered structural brick in anything that needs to hold real weight or meet a building code. What this really points to isn't a conspiracy. It's a reminder that some of the most useful chemistry doesn't need a factory behind it. Researchers built something that could shelter people on another planet using little more than food and dirt. Because when you strip away the assumption that strong has to mean industrial, you find out how much was possible all along with what's already sitting in your pantry. That's the whole spirit behind Hidden Fix Lab. Take the real science, cut the fluff, and hand you something you can actually verify and actually use.